Hey guys, it's back with JohnyTechReview, and I hope you guys are all doing well during this difficult time. I've been working from home for the past 5 weeks or so, and being quarantined sometimes it can get pretty boring. Around my neighborhood in the afternoon, typically I walk around with my kids or bike. And then recently I have the idea of playing around with a electric scooter. In the past I have played with this scooter, but not to the extent of these new ones that are now very popular, through the various different scooter sharing network. The one that I've been looking at is a GOTRAX scooter. I reached out to them to see if they're willing to send me one for review, which they did. I really appreciated that, but keep in mind that this review is completely on my own and I didn't have any of the input for the review. So this is my experience of using this scooter. So the scooter comes in a pretty big box, and the assembly time took about 10 to 15 minutes. The top handlebar is not assembled, so what you have to do is you have to remove the brake line using the included screwdriver, and then you attach the handlebar and then you put the brake line back. Just make sure while you're doing this you are aligning the pin for the screen up top, and then all you have to do is just peel off all the different stickers that come with it. So some of the feature of this GOTRAX XR foldable scooter is that it is a 36 volt 5200 milliamp battery. It has a 250 watt motor, which is good for up to 15.5 miles per hour. It also comes with 8.5 inch air-filled tires for both the front and the back. It weighs about 26 pounds and it has a limit of 220 pounds. It is also waterproof rating of IP54, which means you can run over a puddle, get some splash rating, and it should be okay on it. It has an advertised range of about 12 miles, and I'll have to find out how true that is in my real life playing with it. After installation, it is pretty easy to use this scooter. There is just one button up front for power, switching the speed, and then also turning the headlight on and off. Right next to the power button you also have a port to plug in to charge the device. With the button, all you have to do is hold down for about a second, it will turn it on, and after it come on you can hold down for a second to switch between speed 1 and speed 2. Mode 1 and mode 2 basically give you, I believe, 9 miles and like up to 15 miles, so that kind of gives you an idea of how fast between the 2 miles. So starting out, maybe you are not used to it, starting the lower speed limit, and then you can also change to the next one. If you just slightly click the button, it will turn the headlight on and off. So for the headlight, it is a single LED light and it seems pretty bright at night. You can see here in my example, I was in a garage and you can see how dark it is when I turn it on. And then I try to get some video of it when I'm driving at night, but in general you can see probably around 6 or 7 feet in front of you, maybe 10 feet top. But it's bright enough for you even in pitch dark to be able to kind of see in front of you. There is really no brake light in the back, but there is a small reflector, so keep that in mind if you care about safety at night. Other than that, it also automatically power off if you just don't touch it for a while. If you want to turn it up right away, you can just hold down the power button for about 5 seconds. Based on my experience of using it so far, the build quality is pretty solid. The scooter itself seems to be made out of metal. I do like the scooter size. The dimension is listed is about 43 inches by 17 by 14. So the actual deck size where you can put your feet on is about 18 by 5 inches. So for my feet, I don't have a huge feet, but usually you cannot put them side by side because 5 inches wide is not really that big. So you will definitely have to put one feet front and one feet back. When I was riding this with my kid, he was able to stand up front and I was standing right behind him. He was holding the outside of the handlebar while I was holding the inside of the handlebar in order to adjust the throttle. Speaking of a throttle, there is just one thumb throttle that you can hold down. So the throttle is pretty responsive, which I like. You can definitely hear the motor like making noise when you are adjusting the throttle. If you hold the throttle down for more than 10 seconds, it will automatically engage into cruise control, and that kind of just hold it in that speed. So if you want to get out of it, you can just either brake or you can just tap the throttle again, and then it will get out of the cruise control mode. There's no way to disable this feature as far as I know, so you just gotta be careful when you get into stop sign or where you need to stop and slow down. Don't forget that the scooter is still going forward. As far as the handle of the scooter, has really nice rubberized grip and it's easy to hold. I have no problem using the scooter and it works pretty well. Beside that, there is no suspension on this scooter at all. There's two 8.5 inch air-filled tires and they perform pretty well over small bumps and rocky road. But if you hit a big bump or big speed bump, you're gonna feel it, right? But the wheel does take some of that off. Again, being front wheel drive like most scooter, you can expect that if you wiggle it a little bit, it feels pretty wobbly, so I would not mess around with that. But in general, going around the neighborhood here, I feel pretty comfortable on it. Even though I haven't used a scooter in a while, it's pretty simple to get started with this guy. All you have to do is turn it on, give it a little small kick in about 1 to 2 miles per hour, and then you have to then squeeze the throttle, and that's when it will start. This is one of those scooters that require you to have a little bit of speed first, and you cannot start your scooter from a desktop, and in a way it's a kind of good design. I do enjoy this. Braking wise, there seem to be two different ways as advertised to brake on your scooter. Number one was the regenerative braking from the motor, meaning when you let go and it's braking, it's actually charging back the battery. The other way to brake is using the mechanical disc brake. To do this, you just squeeze the brake handle on the left side of the scooter. From my perspective, I don't really know if the regenerative braking actually works that well. So it could be on those downhill trip where you're not accelerating, that you are charging back the batteries. Out of the box, the disc brake works really well, but it's a little bit stuttery. So if you're going really fast and you're squeezing it, I typically just ease into it to kind of slow down. But if you squeeze it really hard, it can stutter a little bit, so just be careful of that. Of course, you can probably make some adjustment on the wire, but I haven't done that yet. I just kind of left it the way it was. So like I mentioned earlier in the overview, the speed is about 15.5 miles per hour max. That is what they're limited to, it seemed like it. When I was going downhill, I was able to hit like 19.5 miles, and it doesn't seem like slowing down. So that's when I'm not even using the motor. I'm just like leaning forward and let the gravity take over. So in order to track the range of the GOTRAX scooter, I use an app called Rider44. This is a free app I found on the App Store. It works pretty well, and it is using the GPS on my phone to do that. So I can go ahead and show you guys what that looked like and kind of give you an idea. In the history here, what I have is a list of different rides that I have over the course of the week. I fully charge the scooter, then I use it, and then I try to record as many rides as I can in here, and not to forget, I believe I forget like 2 or 3 smaller rides where I was playing around, kind of maxing out the scooter and testing the brake and those kind of thing. But in general, overall I got about 9.1 miles. So this is probably not counting those smaller rides I have, so probably 9.5 miles is what you can expect as a real life range for your scooter. Keep in mind I'm about 165 pounds, and on some of these rides I'm also having my kid who is about 50 pounds. So you're looking at about 210 pounds up and down the hill around the neighborhood. So that gives you an idea. The website rated this scooter for about 12 miles, and I'm getting about 9.5, 10 miles. So that's not bad. That's pretty good. So beside the range, the battery takes about 4 hours to charge completely. When I first got it, it was probably around 80%. It took me about an hour to charge it up, and then after I use it, I get it to a point where it's completely drained and the scooter just turned off, and then I can turn it on and kind of play around with it a little bit. But in general, by that point the scooter probably have less than 5% battery left, and then it took me about 4 hours to charge it back. So in general, I was pleasantly surprised with this scooter. For about $250, I think it's a pretty good scooter to get if you just want something to go around the city. Just keep in mind the range is probably around 10 miles max out, and that's with using the Mode 2 speed, and I'm not being conservative. I'm just squeezing it up and down and stop and go a lot. I do like the build quality in your scooter. It's quite nice and everything feels very sturdy. One thing you can also do with your scooter, of course, is fold it. I like the folding mechanism because it allows you to have a little pin you have to pull out in order to press the handle to fold it down. However, this kind of proposed a challenge problem where I was having a hard time folding it. You can't do it with one hand. You have to use one hand to kind of pull the pin, while the other hand you are pushing the middle bar to allow it to flip down. But when you fold down, it will attach to the back of the scooter where there's a splat plate there, I guess, and you can pick it up. The scooter is again 26.5 pounds, which is quite heavy. I wouldn't carry this in the long run, but you know, up and down, inside and outside the house, it's pretty simple. There's also a one last thing to mention. There's also a small kickstand on the scooter, which is really nice for you to just lay it down. There's no lock on it or anything, so if you need to lock your scooter, you have to figure out a way to lock it. But for me, I was just playing around in my neighborhood and then stored it in my garage, so I didn't really have that challenge right now. But for those of you who are planning to use this in the city, you might want to find a spot on your scooter to lock it in place. Alright guys, other than that, I really enjoy this scooter. The one thing that really stands out for me is the quality. For the price, you're getting a pretty nice build quality. Scooter works pretty well, and charging time is about 4 hours, so overall I'm really happy with that. The only downside I can think of it right now is that I guess if you want a bigger version, maybe with more range and maybe more power, you can get another version, I guess. But other than that, I don't see any big problem with it. Braking could also be slightly better, but I guess that could also be adjusted to the disc brake cable. So I hope you guys enjoy this review of my GOTRAX scooter. If you have any question, please let me know in the comment box down below. I will also put a link down for you guys to check it out on either Amazon or on their website. Again, I would like to thank GOTRAX for sending this unit for me to review. I hope you guys found this video useful. Please give it a thumb up, and if you enjoyed seeing these kind of videos, please subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys have a good week and stay safe.